Nehru was greatly influenced by the socialistic ideology, but his socialism was not of a Marxist or a revolutionary type. Anji, kya likhe isliye? We don't talk about the concept of socialism which influenced Nehru at that point of time, but basically in the context that despite the fact that he was influenced by socialism, but the socialism was not in the context of revolutionary or the Marxist type. Because इसके लिए socialism क्या था? It was basically greater amount of opportunity, greater equality of opportunity. Has to be given. Social justice has to be there. Has to be there. Then equitable distribution of higher income. Or the higher income, ending of the acute social disparities. That has to be done. That the social disparities which are being generated by feudalism at that point of time. Scientific approach to the problems of society. Why? Because he understood it very clearly in the context that the attainment of the social goal has to be done, but while the attainment of the social goals has to be there, in that case it becomes equally important that we have to follow the Indian tradition also. सोशल गोल तो अचीव करना ही है, लेकिन करना कब है? इंडियन ट्रेडिशन में रहते हुए. Therefore, it not of the Marxists की totally of state control हो, not revolutionary that there has to be revolutionary overthrow of the government and that has to be taken up by the proletariat. ऐसा नहीं था. Accordingly, it has to be combination of both the things. Therefore, his own version of socialism was introduced in the country at that point of time. Firstly, why? And this was even followed when he was there in the fighting for the independence. For example, in 1929, when he was the chairperson of the Lahore session that was held, he advocated socialism also. Socialism वहाँ पे advocate किया किस तरीके से implement होना चाहिए, and said that later on in 1936 when he again became the head, he said that socialism is a solution to the prevailing problem of the society at that point of a time. And therefore, with this influence that he put forward in 1936, Indian National Congress also accepted socialism. That it is to a great extent a solution for social economic policies, and we should follow our socio-economic policies influenced by socialism only. And why this could be taking place? Only because of the influence of Nehru that was there. Earlier also, when 1931 Karachi session was held, कौन head था? Patel was there. He was the head. The Congress granted various things. For example, the civil liberties has to be given to the people. The equality of the law has to be followed irrespective of the caste, creed, other things. The election should be held on the basis of universal adult franchise. There has to be compulsory free primary education has to be there. ये कब किससे influence हुआ था? All these things were influenced by socialism at that point of time only. और चलते हुए in 1938 he formed National Planning Committee that was formed. Basically that was committed to the economic planning that was to be undertaken in India at that point of time. It was specific in the context that Nehru's socialism do not want that the private property should be ending. जिस तरीके से आप Marxist की बात करते हैं, they want the complete ownership of the private property should not be there, it should be under the state. His own concept was that the private property should not be ending, and therefore he said that if it has to be there, it is a high idea of the cooperative services has to be there. कि कुछ तो corporate houses होंगे and there should be some responsibility that should be जिस तरीके से CSR की हम बात करते हैं another thing, and that has to be there because he do not want to end this. Not only this, but after later on he became the independent For example, the influence of the directive principles of state policy was just because of the influence of the socialistic ideas, or for example, fundamental rights, etc. Even after independence, we went for 3 pillars of industrialization, and that reflected his own view of socialism. The 3 pillars, for example, economic planning, second, the mixed economy, and 5-year plan. A combination of various things are there. And therefore, he said that economic planning honi chahiye and mixed economy honi chahiye. Agar mixed economy hai, he said that there should be nationalization of key industry should be taking place. Some key industry should be nationalized. In the context of industries, in the context of agriculture, he said that a cooperative approach should be followed in agriculture also, and allow the private sector to participate in the in agriculture and in industry also. The various land reforms that was carried out, for example, Sarvodaya movement and etc., are also a reflection of this only. So therefore, India also adopted the path of a particular type of socialism that was there in the constitution by the 42nd Amendment, 1976. It was influence of Nehru only, that was. Because he did not want to have a revolutionary overthrow, but a combination of public and private that has to be.